sure if you ever met before here. So maybe online comments. Good. Okay, and we should be live again. I have a new guest. What's your name and what brings you to JCON?
Hi, my name is Michael Simons, and I'm just a visitor today at JCON, and I'm mainly here to meet people like Frank and other nice folks that I haven't seen in a long time and keep a bit of community going.
What's your main interest within Java? You are a developer?
Yes, I'm a developer. I'm a staff engineer at Neo4j, and we create a database with the same name. It's a graph database, and I'm responsible for connectivity for drivers and for Spring Data Neo4j.
Can you, in 2 sentences, explain the difference between your database and others?
I can try. Just interrupt me if it's getting too long. So when you think about relational databases, the columns and the rows of a table, they make up relations. Many people mistake relational databases, the constraints you do, foreign keys between relations as actual relations. Those are not the relations. In Neo4j, we store physical relations between entities, such as like a movie and the actors of a movie, and you can query those relationships directly. We have a query language for that is called Cypher, and in the last year there has been a new standard which is GQL, Graph Query Language, not to confuse with GraphQL. That's a different thing. Yes, that's the main difference between a relational column or table-oriented database and the graph database, right?
And is this hard to learn if you are an SQL experienced developer?
Depends on your mindset, I have to say. So I said I'm responsible for Spring Data Neo4j, which is an object graph mapper, and it's very similar to object relational mappers. Some people only interact with the database through these mappers, so we have two parts, object and source mapping and query generation. If you ever think about only coming from that angle, it's generally hard to leave Java for a moment behind and go to a query language. I don't think that SQL is hard, and I don't think that Cypher is hard. It's a way. Oh geez, I wanted to avoid saying AI, but it's like a good prompt. You tell the thing what you want, and it comes up with the optimal algorithm to pick data from a store and massage it in the way you want to project it in the end.
Do you agree that as a database developer, you should know SQL and not only rely on mapping things and libraries helping you? Can you be a better database user if you know the language of the database itself?
Absolutely. So you're completely running into open doors with that statement with me. So I've given talks about Neo4j, OGM, and Spring Data, and I also given talks about SQL and other tools. And I think you have to know the lingua franca, the language of your database, to fully utilize it. That's for sure, right? These mapping tools, they are general purpose tool, and you can only generate queries on a not on the surface, but general purpose queries. But you pick a specific database for a reason. You pick a graph database, maybe you want to detect circles or fraud rings. You want to use it for graph rec in AI. You picked it for a specific reason, and for that you have to know the language. Mappers can only help you so far to hydrate object graph afterwards for you. And in relational databases, you often have the point that you have to understand the transaction machinery to know how the second level cache behaves or doesn't behave. So yes, I think you should absolutely know the groundworks for these mappers.
One of the arguments for a mapper is, yeah, but maybe we will switch to another database later. Does that happen a lot?
I haven't seen it in 25 years of software engineering, really not. Maybe if you have a product that you ship dedicated for different databases, like you allow the user to either pick MySQL or Postgres or whatever, then maybe that's a good reasoning for doing so, right? But in big enterprise projects, I haven't seen it in my career once.
So the point is you really should think about which database you're using when you're setting up a new project. Each database has its proper use.
Yes, absolutely. And there's maybe voices that say use an abstraction like Spring Data like the repository abstraction, which I think is a great abstraction to think and to integrate your database interaction with something like domain-driven design, that's for sure. But I would not sell it as an abstraction over like MongoDB, Redis, Neo4j, or relational databases. They will definitely behave completely different, and do different things for you, and you should not abstract this away.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for your explanation,
My
and
pleasure.
have fun here at the conference.
Thank you, and yeah, thank you for having me.